I'm so sorry, man. Let me get that.
It's all right.
So sorry.
It's okay. Calm down.
I'm so sorry.
Be sorry.
The movie opens in a cafe on an island called Island, where a band performs live music. The cafe owner, Alvarez, is clearly fond of the lead singer, Nora. Captivated by her voice and charm, he invites her to sit with him and compliments her talent. Wanting her to stay, he offers her a one-year contract to sing at the cafe every Saturday night, promising triple the usual pay. Nora is thrilled and quickly agrees. Alvarez then asks the bartender to pour her a glass of wine. Unfortunately, the bartender accidentally spilled wine on Nora's dress. Nora stayed calm, saying it was fine and that she could simply change clothes. But Alvarez snapped. He was expecting an important guest and refused to let anyone see Nora with a stained dress. He killed the bartender right in front of her. Nora was terrified. In that moment, she realized Alvarez wasn't just a cafe owner, he was the leader of a powerful U.S. Mafia who had been hiding on the island for 4 years, secretly expanding his criminal empire. The story then shifts to Los Angeles, where we meet Sheriff Mark and his deputy, Phil. At first, they look like ordinary cops just doing their jobs, but in reality, they're corrupt and planning a shady deal at the airport. As their plan begins, a real drug dealer and his crew arrive. Mark meets with the dealer to collect the illegal goods, while Phil prepares to hand over the money. But suddenly, Phil betrays the dealer's crew and starts a violent shootout.
Fucking face hammer again.
We good?
Hey, LAPD.
You both are.
Shut the fuck up.
Damn!
Pointed.
He was a lot smaller.
In the middle of the chaos, Mark's phone rings. It's his mother, calling to tell him that his brother has just been found dead. After hearing the heartbreaking news, Mark rushed back to his hometown, which happened to be the same island. He attended his brother's funeral and was shocked to learn that his brother was the bartender Alvarez had murdered. Their mother was devastated by the loss of her youngest son. Around town, people believed gang members had attacked him on his way home from work. Then, to everyone's surprise, Alvarez arrived at the funeral with 2 of his men, pretending to be respectful and offering his condolences to Mark. After the funeral, Mark and his mother returned home. While looking through old photos, Mark realized it had been 11 years since he last came to the island. His work as a sheriff had kept him too busy. Now, with his brother gone, he was determined to find justice. The next day, he went to the local police station and met Sheriff B, an old childhood friend. B offered his condolences and promised to begin investigating the case immediately.
This is gonna take some time. And right now, we don't have a whole lot to go off of.
This is all you have?
That's everything from the table. Maybe a fight with the gangs.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of crime here on the island, especially gangs from neighboring islands coming here to party.
So you think this is gang related?
Like I said, this is gonna take some time, but when I do, you'll be the first to know.
All right.
Mark sat down with Aquila and asked about his brother's daily routine and whether any gangs might have been involved in his death. Aquila wasn't sure. Many gangs had moved to the island after Mark left, so things had changed a lot. But she did tell him one crucial detail: his brother had been working for an American man named Alvarez. She warned Mark that Alvarez wasn't just a cafe owner but a mafia boss. The cafes were only a front for his real business, trafficking illegal goods and weapons. After hearing that, Mark grew suspicious of Alvarez and decided he would confront him. Before leaving, Mark asked Aquila to take his mother home and watch over her. He was worried something might happen to her. Then he headed straight to Alvarez's cafe. At first, Alvarez's right-hand man tried to stop him, but Alvarez eventually agreed to let him in. Mark got right to the point and asked if Alvarez knew who was responsible for his brother's death. Alvarez lied, claiming the Outsiders gang had attacked his brother after a late shift. Mark didn't believe him for a second. He warned Alvarez that if he had any part in it, he wouldn't get away with it. But Alvarez just laughed, brushing off the threat, as if it meant nothing. He still saw Mark as just another ordinary cop. Alvarez then mentioned a cafe where local thugs often hung out and suggested that Mark go there to ask around. They might know something about his brother's death. But as soon as Mark left, Alvarez secretly ordered his right-hand man to gather members of the Northern gang and have them kill Mark that same night. Meanwhile, Mark went to visit his best friend, who now owned a small hot dog stand. He asked about some weapons he had hidden years earlier. His friend told him they were buried in an old, abandoned building near the beach. As they talked, it became clear that when they were teenagers, Mark and his friend had once been powerful figures on the island, almost like local legends. After Mark left for Los Angeles, the island began attracting foreign gangs and mafia groups. His best friend knew Mark wouldn't rest until he got justice for his brother and promised to help him whenever he needed it. Mark then went to the abandoned building near the beach and dug up the weapons his friend had hidden years earlier. That evening, he went to the cafe Alvarez had mentioned. He walked in, turned off the music, and confronted the group of thugs, demanding to know who had killed his brother. They denied knowing anything and then suddenly attacked. A fight broke out right there in the cafe.
All I want to know.
Mark quickly overpowered the thugs and demanded again to know who had killed his brother. The gang leaders swore they hadn't harmed anyone from the island.
Never met him.
Just then, a group of Northern gang members sent by Alvarez stormed in and started shooting at Mark. He narrowly escaped, leading to a chaotic chase. During the pursuit, Mark managed to capture one of the attackers. Afterward, he found a safe hiding spot and stayed there until the gang stopped searching for him. Soon after, the gang leader called Alvarez to report that they had lost Mark. Enraged, Alvarez gave a new order to kill Mark's mother. The gang broke into Mark's house and opened fire on what they thought was her sleeping in bed. But it turned out to be just a pillow under the blanket. Luckily, Aquila had been cautious and had already moved Mark's mother to a safe location. Later, Mark and Sheriff B arrived to inspect the scene. Mark couldn't stop thinking that if he hadn't trusted Aquila, his mother might not have survived. Aquila then told him that someone had come forward with new information about his brother's death. The witness, a singer named Nora, had seen everything. Sheriff B added that Nora was staying at a motel near the church, in room 18, and suggested that Mark go talk to her in person. The next day, Mark went to Nora's room. At first, she was too scared to open the door, thinking he might be one of Alvarez's men. But Mark quickly showed her his police badge to prove he meant no harm. Nora finally opened the door and spoke with him. Mark promised to help her leave the island safely if she told him who had killed the bartender, his brother. Nervously, Nora confessed the truth. Alvarez had killed Mark's brother just because he accidentally spilled wine on her dress. She explained that Alvarez had kept her trapped on the island ever since, afraid she might go to the police. After hearing this, Mark quickly escorted her out of the room and met up with Sheriff B. He asked B to take Nora to the dock and make sure she left the island safely. Nora was safely taken to the dock, while Mark began planning his revenge on Alvarez for his brother's murder. Meanwhile, Alvarez sent his top mercenaries to hunt Mark down. A few hours later, they arrived on the island and headed straight to Mark's house. At that time, Mark's mother and Aquila were there. Mark had arranged for his mother to stay with Aquila while he went to confront Alvarez. Suddenly, a car pulled up outside. It was the mercenaries. Mark quickly grabbed his weapons and rushed his mother and Aquila to the back of the house to keep them safe. Two of the mercenaries stayed near the car, while the other two went inside. Two of the mercenaries noticed signs that Mark had gone around the back of the house, so they followed him. They soon caught up, and a shootout began. Meanwhile, the two mercenaries by the car were also attacked, but Sheriff B arrived just in time and forced them to retreat. Mark managed to take down one of the men chasing him, while the other fled. Later, he called Mark, who told him he had taken his mother and Aquila to his best friend's hot dog stand for safety. The scene then shifted to Alvarez and his right-hand man searching for Nora at a hotel. Alvarez was furious when he discovered she was gone. In a fit of rage, he killed the hotel guard for failing to protect her. Meanwhile, Mark took his mother and Aquila to his best friend's house, planning to leave them there while he went after Alvarez. His best friend, the hot dog vendor, welcomed them kindly. As Mark prepared to leave, Aquila insisted on going with him. He tried to change her mind, but she refused. In the end, they agreed to face the danger together. That night, Mark and Aquila waited for Sheriff B to arrive as planned. B finally showed up in his car but didn't get out. Concerned, Mark and Aquila went to check on him and were shocked to find him seriously wounded. Suddenly, gunfire erupted. It was an ambush by Alvarez's last three mercenaries. In the chaos, they captured Aquila while Mark stayed behind to help B. Barely holding on, B used his last breath to tell Mark to keep fighting for justice and for the island. He begged Mark to put an end to Alvarez's cruelty once and for all. The next day, locals gathered at the church for a service. Mark arrived and gave a powerful speech, urging everyone to unite and stand up against the outsiders who were destroying their island. He urged everyone to rise up against Alvarez, the man responsible for all the crime and suffering on the island. Mark reminded them that his brother, Sheriff B, and Aquila had all suffered because of Alvarez. His words deeply moved the crowd. Inspired by his speech, the townspeople agreed to stand together and fight back against Alvarez. Mark went to the police station and temporarily took over as sheriff. He gathered the officers and made it clear that finding Alvarez was now their top priority. While investigating Alvarez's background, Mark was surprised when his partner from Los Angeles, Phil, suddenly showed up. Phil had come to find out why Mark had been away for so long. Mark told him he wouldn't return until Alvarez, the man who killed his brother and kidnapped Aquila, was brought to justice. Phil agreed to help and took the mission personally, as if it were his own fight. Later that afternoon, Alvarez called Mark. He had discovered that Mark was the one who helped Nora escape. Alvarez proposed a meeting at 7 a.m. the next day to exchange Aquila. He told Mark that if he agreed to drop everything, he would leave him alone. Mark agreed to the deal, but deep down he knew he couldn't move on without getting revenge. Since Nora had already left the island, he also knew she wouldn't be part of the exchange. The next morning, Mark called Phil and asked him to lead a team of local officers to rescue Aquila from Alvarez. Phil immediately agreed. At 7 a.m., Mark arrived at the meeting spot to confront Alvarez as planned. Meanwhile, Phil and his team made their way to Alvarez's hideout to start the rescue mission. When they arrived, they ran into one of Alvarez's mercenaries, but Phil reacted quickly and took him down before he could raise the alarm. Back at the meeting spot, Mark came face to face with Alvarez and one of his top men. Alvarez immediately demanded to know where Nora was. Mark lied, saying she would arrive once Aquila was brought out. He was stalling, trying to buy time while waiting for news from Phil. Meanwhile, Phil located the place where Aquila was being held, but a mercenary caught him off guard and aimed a gun at him. With no other choice, Phil surrendered.
Gun out. Get the gun out, okay?
Hold on, shut up.
Fortunately, the situation soon turned around. Phil and his team fought back, defeated the mercenaries, and safely rescued Aquila. Phil informed Mark that Aquila was safe. Mark then turned to Alvarez and revealed the truth: Nora was in Los Angeles and wasn't coming back. Furious, Alvarez threatened to harm Aquila. But Mark stayed calm and told him that all of his men had already been defeated. Enraged, Alvarez ordered his right-hand man to shoot Mark, but before he could act, the hot dog vendor and a group of islanders arrived, surrounding Alvarez with their weapons ready. Mark told everyone to lower their guns and challenged Alvarez to a one-on-one fight to end it once and for all. Alvarez didn't like the idea, but he agreed.
Could have seen your to settle for yours.
During the fight, Mark made Alvarez suffer the same way he had made Mark's brother suffer. In the next scene, Mark and Aquila shared a quiet, emotional moment on the beach. It was clear they were in love and planning to get married. Later, Phil invited Mark to return to Los Angeles, but Mark declined. He chose to stay on the island and protect it from future threats. The movie ends with a witty message: never spill wine on someone's dress, especially if they happen to be a mafia boss. It could cause more trouble than you can imagine.